I'm almost there. All right. I think I'm just about ready to go here. There we go. Just have to straighten my monitor. The floor is so uneven that every time I swing the monitor over, I have to adjust it. All right. Let's make some sawdust. So this is 5/8 inch hard maple. I was wondering how that post-it note was going to do there. Looks like it's working out. Here we go. Hey guys, welcome in. So we're gonna make an internal cut here. I have a little entry hole drilled in there. Let me just push the blade through. All right, hey guys, welcome in to a test fit. Now I'm verifying the hole is centered. So I have a rat tail bastard file. Now we'll take the pattern off. So the pattern itself is blue painter's tape, and then we use spray adhesive to glue the paper pattern on. That way we have a fresh pattern for every one. So, nice, clear, easy to see. Just move this a little bit more. That'll work. So I'm using a number 7 blade. This is an Olson precision ground blade. It's a number 7. So I got some, we're doing maple now. I got some cherry coming up. This just does a fantastic job with the hard maple. And the reason we use blue painter's tape is If I just use normal masking tape, it's really close to this color. So sometimes you'll miss some, and then when you go to sand, it'll make a mess. The blue painter's tape just sticks out like a sore thumb. So, look at the finish we're getting right off the saw. You can see it shining off the lamp. It's nice. So today we're using a 21-inch Pegasus scroll saw. Most of the videos that I make, I use a Bauer scroll saw, but I'm doing production work, so this is my production machine. We also have a 16-inch buck tool that I did a review for. Last time I looked on Amazon, they were out. So hopefully they'll be in stock soon. Hey Dion, how's it going? Welcome in. I actually made a zero clearance table insert for the top of the buck tool. I was cutting some really tiny things, and even this hole would have been too big. So. So we've been shipping every day because of the holidays. Normally we ship twice a week, which is fine. But yeah, once Christmas comes around, we ship every day. So we were bad. We stopped and got some tacos on the way on the way home from the post office. And then another thing that's horrible about being self-employed, and after lunch we had to take a nap. So we got up from our nap. So we worked 4 hours. Took a break, and now we're back at it. All right, let's see if it fits. So my saw's at a pretty steep angle, so you can't really set things on it, otherwise they'll fall off. And then I have a 5-gallon bucket underneath my saw here, so that catches the majority of the little pieces that fly off. I am working on a grocery store bag, a plastic bag holder for the end that sticks out like 2 or 3 inches. That way it'll collect most of the dust. I do have extraction on the saw, so you can hook up a hose here, but I don't really want to listen to a shop vac running. How it fits. Ooh. Fits nice. All right. So yeah, so we put the tape down. Then the spray adhesive that I prefer is 3M Super 77. Does a really nice job of holding the patterns on. We are a quiet bunch today. That's all right. Hello, Arizona. How's Manuel doing today? What blade am I using? William, I'm using a number 7. This is a Olson PGT blade. If I can get the pack off the ground, I'll show it to you. Yeah, so I'm using a number 7 because this stuff is hard maple. So they switched their packaging. It's horrible, but yeah, it's the precision ground tooth blades by Olson. They're an aggressive blade. They're awfully similar to like PS Wood Super Sharps, except for these have reverse teeth on them. So you get a cleaner bottom. Hey, not a problem. With Olson, I like their mock speed blades and I like their precision ground tooth blades. I don't really like their other blades, to be honest. And the nice part is they're available. I get them at Menards. But I also use Pegasus blades and Nikwa blades, or they're sold in the U.S. under the name Flying Dutchman. I like a Ultra Reverse. I like modified geometry blades. I like really aggressive blades, just because I want to get stuff done. Hey, Solomon. I am doing well. I'm a little bit under the weather, but we're working. That's the important part. So we are making Turkish-style drop spindles. So these are used to spin yarn. So they'll have a big wooden shaft going through them. But yeah, the finish off the scroll saw is actually really, really, really nice. So this is my day job. Trying to get through the holidays, and then I'll get back to making some more recorded content. Oh, we're having a heat wave. 37 degrees Fahrenheit. Yesterday it was like 1 degrees. Hello, Jorge the cat. Welcome back. Hello, Jose. How's it going? The funny part is I have a cat whose name was George when we got him. Yeah, he was a feral kitten. And all his brothers and sisters got adopted, and he was just a pain in the ass. Yeah, his name was George. We changed it to Jordy. But yeah, so he is a massive little guy. I don't know where my phone is. There it is. Yep. So if he ever gets lost, it says George on his microchip. Yeah. So there's George. Oh, there you go. So right now the girlfriend's in the basement staining some top whirl spindles. When she comes up, she can verify my story. So we got two cats. We got Jordy, and then we got Luna. And Luna was a farm cat, basically. They were living in kind of like a small junkyard type thing. So she was fun to tame as well. Yep. Yeah, Luna is also a gray tabby. She's actually my little my profile picture. So that's Luna. So I brought wood scrap home in this DeWalt box, and she decided that's her new house. So that was a couple weeks ago. So how many pieces I'm going to cut for this project? I have a total of 24 here. So let me grab one. So this is what one looks like that I've been spinning yarn on. So we're cutting out these arms now. And after we get done with cutting out the arms, we'll probably go on the lathe and start turning the shafts. So each one is 3 pieces. But yeah, we're doing 2 dozen today. Yeah. She was an adorable kitten. So we're also building up inventory. We have a festival we're in Wisconsin. We got a festival in North Carolina in February. So we're starting to build up inventory for that. Hey, honey, real loud. What was Jordy's original name?
George.
There you go. Because George the cat is in here in the live stream. So. If he changes his name one more time, he could be the vice president. All right, now we're going to be moving on to cherry. So the cherry is a little less dense, so it cuts a little bit faster. Hello! How's Greg doing today? So I've been using this blade probably for over an hour now. Cut out a bunch of stuff earlier, so it is getting a little bit duller. It is getting dull, but still cutting well, so... So I do make these in a bunch of different sizes as far as the width goes. So I do mark the pattern. Just tweaking the size just a little bit. Where can you buy a cutting machine from, and what's the brand, and how long have you been using it? All right, this is a Pegasus scroll saw. I got it online at bearwoods.com. I've had it since April of 2022. This is a 22-inch saw, so from the blade to the back of the saw is 22 inches. This is more of a production type saw. So this saw here is just around $1,000 US. I do have a Bauer from Harbor Freight that's 22 inches long. It's like $280, which is a lot less expensive. And then I also have a 16-inch buck tool that is just a little bit shorter. That one is, I believe, $350. Hey, not a problem. And the ones I mentioned are all double parallel arm saws, so we got the two arms there. You okay? What happened?
Yeah.
I'm streaming, but yeah, what happened?
Oh, I have my headphones on there and it's beeping at me because I was too far away.
Yeah.
Get inside the door. Disconnected.
Oh, sure. That's the way it works. See what you get for taking the garbage out?
Right?
Oh, we did get a message on Etsy, I believe.
Huh?
We got a message on Etsy. Yep. This cherry is beautiful. So yeah, this is the nicer. This is the red cherry from the mill. So Hello, is it Myro? Welcome in. Yeah, being able to do internal cuts is just an amazing thing. You know, I'm considering buying a Pegasus bandsaw. It's going to be a couple years out. They're not inexpensive. And I'll probably cut the outsides with those. Basically, it's the same blade as this on a bandsaw. So it's a very specific bandsaw. It's got, you can't put any other blades on. There's very specific blades. But you get this kind of finish on it. I mean, you can make like, you know, bandsaw boxes on it, obviously, but it doesn't have much of a curve, and yeah. Lots of good things about it, besides the price. And the blades are like $50 a piece. But it would save me time. So this girl saw has a reciprocating blade. Obviously, just up, down, up, down, up, down. Where bandsaw is always going down. How many of these things do I actually make? Oh, by the way, hello, Roberto. Sorry I missed you there. Infinity. Like for this stream, we're gonna cut another like 8 or 9 out, and then we'll start making the shafts for them. This is my J job. This is what I do for a living. So, you know, in a good day, I will probably get about 20 done, 20 to 30 done, complete, doing all the steps. But I kind of break it down, you know. I'll do like cut out 2 dozen and then go finish those. So I've made tens of thousands of these. So I'll give you a little peek at what needs to be sanded right now. So, all of these and all of those. So as far as the buffer goes, there's just about 100 sitting there. stay in school, kids. Hey, SK, welcome in. Oh yeah. 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 So, you know, people are hand spinning yarn. So they do appreciate a handmade tool. Yep, I've been making these full time since 2012. So. Yeah, so these are standards. These are like my beginner models. They're maple, cherry, and walnut. And then I make them in a bunch of different sizes and different wood types. So, hey G, welcome in. So, the next step up would be the gliders, which have more of a handlebar mustache shape, and those are made out of exotic woods. So, the price on those are a little bit more. Hey Lucas, how's it going? Welcome in. So I make Turkish spindles, I make top whirl drop spindles, I make low whirl drop spindles, I make supported spindles. I make a lot of things that support spinning, even down to the point of making like stitch markers. I also make loose sets, null binding needles, just a bunch of stuff, felting tools. I do a lot of this type of stuff on the stream because it's a static camera. I'm not running around just in one spot. Yeah, as far as the saw goes, I've had it since what they say, January, April of 22. The only thing I've replaced is I rebuilt this chuck assembly here and replaced the knobs. I got a refresher kit. It comes with it when you buy the saw, so I replaced this, and there's a spring on the inside I replaced as well. And yeah, these knobs I change out usually about once a year. It's just not a straight screw. On the end, there's a piece that sits in there that has a little, like a rubber gasket to hold it in. So that doesn't spin. So when you tighten this up, it can lock and put pressure on it without turning this into like a hockey puck shape. So you're putting pressure in, not twisting. And these will actually fit on my my less expensive saws that I have. So you can buy them and replace the cheaper chucks for the more expensive ones. These are a lot lighter. They're made out of anodized aluminum.
Sounds like somebody lost their sunglasses outside. Where's my sunglasses?
Really?
Yeah. As they were walking by.
Boy, that sucks.
Right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Somebody asked how many fingers I have. The scroll saw is the safest thing in the workshop that has the word saw attached to it. This will give you band-aid injuries. You're not going to be cutting any fingers off with this saw. It would take you quite a bit of time to do it.
I suppose if they don't
know.
know.
It's not like a bandsaw. It's not it's not going to dismember.
They hear the word saw and they think, oh my gosh.
Right.
But it makes sense.
Not with that attitude, right? There's much quicker ways to cut your fingers off. You can go over to the bandsaw or the table saw or the chop saw.
Right? Or the router.
Yeah, router. Good too. Yeah, have a good one.
Much quicker ways to cut your finger. That's true. Oh.
It'd be like dismembering a body with a butter knife.
Okay.
If they want to try with the butter knife, go ahead.
I think you watch way too many crime shows.
Right. There were tri-lobal fibers involved.
Right?
And
Succinylcholine.
succinylcholine, yes. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Or antifreeze. Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah, that's horrible, man.
Yeah.
another one. And a lot of, well, I guess we do watch, and you'll watch the older ones. A lot of cyanide too. Just crazy.
It's a classic.
Yeah, I guess we put it that way.
When in doubt, grab the rat poisoning.
I suppose that's what Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda and Dolly Parton used in Working 9 to 5.
It's a way to make a living.
Right?
Come from the bed and come into the kitchen. So we have 5 more to go after this. Then we'll head over to the lathe and start cutting out the shafts. I try. So the next step are going to be sanding, running over the edges, and balancing them. That's what my girlfriend is doing right now. I'm sure you could probably hear her extractor going. So, as far as this mortise goes, we want it to have a little bit of slop. We don't want it to be tight, because right now it's winter, it's very dry. So when summer comes, you know, it's going to absorb moisture, and then it's going to, that hole's going to be smaller, this is going to be bigger. And just that little bit of wiggle room helps that arm come in and out, and in the summertime, it'll still be all right. So I've been using scroll saws since 1987. It seems like it's always been part of my life. I've always enjoyed using it. So before I started making drop spindles, I used to make a whole bunch of like wooden signs like this, name signs. Called them shelf sitters because you set them on a shelf. I did this in a lot of wooden toys way back in the day. And I still do videos teaching how to do that kind of stuff. It's been a weird holiday season, that's for sure. I used to sell quite a bit internationally. After the United States, my second most amount of sales came from Canada, which has now dried up and stopped. Yeah, I used to sell a lot to Australia. That's pretty much stopped. Europe is pretty much dead. But as long as billionaires get tax breaks, I guess we're going to do what we got to do. Alright, we got 3 more after this. If you're just tuning in, we're making Turkish drop spindles for spinning yarn. Alright. So, Anthony asks, does your machine ever break down? The nodding head, the bearings, and the... Eventually, the bearings will need to get replaced. That's going to happen. Like I said, I've had the saw since 22, so it's only 3 years old. Hopefully I can get another couple years out of it. You can send them in to get refurbished. So yeah, these are all needle bearings in here. So they will wear out. Hello, user AS1410. Welcome in. I'm sorry, I only speak English. So yeah, this saw here. Hey, Kay, how's it going? Yeah, as far as just the normal bearings in there, they're a lot beefier than in less expensive saws. So. So back when I was running Delta and DeWalt saws, I typically get between 1 and 2 years out of them before the bearings would go because I use them so much. But back in the day, when I was doing that in the, the saws were much less expensive. I think the DeWalt's now like $450. 10 years ago, it would have been $250. So it was easy to replace and repair a lot of the time. Let's see. You're trying to learn as much as you can before you start using your saw in January. It's cold in the UK and you have no heat in your shop at present. I understand that. Totally understand that. I was working out of a little garden shed. I'm in Wisconsin, so that's the Midwest in America. And yeah, it's currently 36 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's a warm day today. Yesterday it was like 1 degree was the high. I used to use a little electric like garage heater on the ceiling because it was a garden shed, so it was like 12 feet by 12 feet. And if I burned anything in there, I scared I would burn up all the oxygen. So definitely understand that. So we went from the garden shed and then we went into the house. I was working out of a bedroom for a while. And then about a year ago, we moved into this old, it used to be a grocery store that was built in 1900. So it's just a little commercial workshop. So we got a forced air heater in the furnace in the basement. The big thing with scroll saws are when you first start out, they're going to have a mind of their own. It takes a while to get a feel for them. I do have some beginner scroll saw videos that you should check out. I do walk through a lot of stuff. Yeah, I got a 2-parter absolute beginner scroll saw videos. Those are really good. I also have like 10 things I wish I knew kind of video. It's got a bunch of sawdust and a duck on it. It covers a lot. It really does. cool. Yeah. A lot of it might be common sense kind of stuff, but if nobody ever showed you, yeah, I'm just trying to give back. Oh, welcome in. Mr. It's Me, if that's your real name. I'm doing good. A little under the weather today, but I'm getting stuff done. That's the important part. There you go. And that's a fine name. Augustus and Atlanta. Very nice. Yeah, the biggest tip of scroll saws are don't be afraid of them. I mean, respect the blade. There's nothing saying that you have to get your hand close to the blade. What speed am I using? Well, this one doesn't have a speedometer on it. I'm running it full out, open. So yeah, my other scroll saws, my Bauer and my buck tool, I usually run around 7. Yeah, this one, there is no gauge. So, 0 all the way. Alright, we got one more to cut. And then we'll head over to the lathe. Oh, I'm sorry. You wanted me to say 6'7". Man, I'm really dense. The other saws I have go from 1 to 8. For about the time you did a review on it, nice. Yeah, that one I'd run it around 7. Yeah, the Bauer's an awesome saw for the money. So yeah, I just did a review on the buck tool. So there's a Pegasus. And then I put the buck tool on my stand for my Bauer. And then I just put a 0 clearance sheet on the top. I was cutting some really, really, really fine stuff. Yeah, I hear ya. And then I got the Bauer over there. I need to make another stand is what I need to do. Well, you know, this saw here, but by the time you buy the Harbor Freight, if you buy the extended warranty for it, it's about $20 more expensive. But yeah, I like the Bauer. It's a good saw. Yeah, both the buck tool and the Bauer are coming out of the same factory. They're made by Chanson, who makes stuff for Rikon and Nova. So, yeah, so the price difference is kind of warranty based. They have to charge a little bit more because they have a 2-year warranty, where the Bauer doesn't. Yeah, so if you look at the 22-inch Bauer and the 22-inch buck tool, they're the same saw, except for the buck tool has a dust extraction, so it's got holes in the top, and then there's a hood that goes on the top that you plug a vacuum into. It works. But that's really the only difference. I think your dust extraction is in the bed too, yeah. So this saw, the way it's set up, when you hook up a vacuum to it, you can feel vacuum here. There's actually suction right here. Like the buck tool, it's more passive, so the holes are bigger, so the sawdust will fall down. Once it falls down through the hole, then there's suction. So. I'm currently not using dust extraction, obviously. I just don't want to listen to a vacuum cleaner run all day. Although, she's got her extractor running. I'm going to be turning mine on in a minute. So on my CNC machine, I'm running DeWalt shop vac, but it's half the volume of a normal shop vac. So you can actually talk over the top of it. But I really don't have to want to roll that over here. And if I buy another vacuum cleaner, I think my girlfriend may kill me. Maybe someday I'll play the count the vacuums in this room day. So we are going to run over to the lathe. So Vicky is currently sanding. So Vicky's sanding. I don't know if you can hear me over the vacuum. Right? What's that? All right. That wasn't so bad. All right. I gotta go grab the power cables. I'll be right back. I swear, sometimes it must have a mind of its own. Hey, not a problem. I've had a lot of people help me throughout the years. Yeah, the scroll saw is just a very unappreciated tool. It does take a little practice, and you know, a lot of woodworkers just want to set up a fence and run it through, and that's really not what that saw is about. All right, we're going to be turning hard maple shafts. So I am using doweling that I buy from a mill that makes these per order. Yep. Let's make these lines a little darker. So putting the lines on is pretty high tech. It's all about the Sharpies, baby. Alright, so we're going to be making 7-inch shafts, so I'm going to be using the black set of lines. And those correlate with the story stick that we're using. Get my extraction going. So I'm using this wrench or spanner as a caliper. So if it slips over the wood, I'm on size. Yeah, my vacuum on my router automatically turns on. I don't know. This works. Now I also use my extractor for a bunch of different things. So I move the hose around. You mean the switches yourself? Nice. And we're going to burnish. Then add a little wax. I'll walk through the next one, what I'm doing. This one I'm just kind of warming up. Hey, Kelly, how's it going? Welcome in. So this is mahogany, and this is a glider. This is the more expensive model. It's pretty. It's not hard to see. I got a 4-jaw chuck there. Alright, so when I'm chucking this up, I line it up with the center here, but I don't put the center in. The center's not touching. That way, when I start it up, I can let it spin up to speed. Now, it's clamped in that side. If it's wobbling, when I bring it in, see how it has that wobble to it? Now I'm in the center, but it's not in the center of that plane. So if I would take a center finder, like that, mark the center and put that pin in the center, the only part of this that would be in the center is this plane right here, not the entire shaft. So if there's a bow in this, putting it on the exact center by marking it is going to throw everything off. I'm not really explaining that well, but okay, you can see how much that is back and forth. It's probably about 1/8 of an inch off, or what, about 3 mil? Now, if I turn the speed up, bring the diameter down. Now if I back this off, we'll see. Now it's running perfectly straight. Yeah, so the marks, this black mark, that's the bottom. This is where my taper is going to end. Nice. Yeah, that's Luna when we first got her. She's a year old now, a little over a year. Yeah, she's a gray and black tabby, but she does have quite a bit of orange in her as well. Yeah, she's way more orange in that picture. All right. Yeah, that's what she looks like today. Let's see if I have one of her belly. So, that's when I first got her. She was way more orange. There she is, in her little sweater after she got fixed. Because her favorite things used to be peeing on everything and being naughty. So there they are. Those are my two kitties I currently have. That's Jordy, aka George, and then Luna. We want to keep the color coordination going. Before this, we had two orange cats. Yeah, both those cats were feral. Yeah, so Jordy was so not taming himself that we took him as a foster because he was just one stubborn boy. He lived in a cabinet for like 2 weeks. Aww. Nice. Man, that's gotta hurt. I couldn't imagine having a pet that kept running away. And this is called a deco because it has a very Art Deco look to it. I actually designed this in Fusion 360 to be 3D printed. I do 3D print these, but I never planned on making them in wood. But people like them. All right. So we're starting out with a roughing gouge. So a roughing gouge takes off a lot of material, but leaves a pretty crappy finish behind. So we're on size. Come in. Now I do a lot of supporting with my hands because these are so thin. That if I don't support them, they're not going to be straight. Because see how much I'm bending that? Yeah. There's no area to put a steady rest on these. And the steady rest, by the time you got it all hooked up and stuff, it would be faster just not to use it. So. Alright, story stick. Yeah, so I switched from the roughing to the spindle gouge, got it on diameter. Story stick has a bunch of lines. I put a cutout in this that registers against my test whirl. So if I put that up there, I can transfer my lines over. That way they'll all be pretty much the same. So if you break a shaft, order a new one, it would sit in the same spot on the spindle. So this is a beading tool. So it's just a V-shaped scraper basically. So I use that to set in the lines. I could use like the skew, coming from one side, coming from the other side. That's just quicker. Then we're going to take the skew here, we're going to form the finial on the top. Define the diameter underneath. Switch over to the spindle gouge. Blend those two lines together. Now, in between these beads, I burn a decorative line. So I've got some wire here on handles. So I basically have a little garrote. Just hold that down. I think my girlfriend's a little insane. That could be why she's my girlfriend. That's not why I keep you around. Alright, we got it sanded out. We had a medium grit, fine grit. I'm going to grab some wood chips. We're just going to hold it against the surface. This is called burnishing. Think of it like a friction polish. And then we're going to add a little bit of wax. Oh, she heard me. So what she was talking about, she finished sanding the arms and went to grab the shaft, and she kept grabbing a pen, a biro, just like a Bic. She did it 3 times. All right, there's an 8-inch. Got another deco. So as far as the shaft goes, I make a 4 1/4 inch, a 6 inch, a 7 inch, and an 8 inch, and then I make a 10 inch, but that it has a bigger diameter to it. So to put things in context, this is the smallest one I make, and that's the largest one. That one actually has a flat spot. Huh. Hello? Nope, there's no Mark here. Mark Lane put in the wrong phone number about a decade ago, and I've been getting calls for him for the last decade. If you do find him and get a hold of him, tell him to change the stuff from his CDL because it's getting annoying. All right? Thank you much. You too. And have a happy new year. Yep, bye-bye. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, I've been getting phone calls from Mark for the last decade. It's getting freaking old. It wouldn't be bad except for he put it down with his CDL stuff. So I get calls constantly asking about hauling stuff, and I get all the spam calls. Stupid Lowry driver. I'm very UK today. I was kind of amazed that the phone rang. He's not on my contact list. I don't know why the phone decided to not send him a voicemail. Life is what it is. So we are also building inventory. We have a show coming up in March. You know, these, it's a tool. So it's important that they are perfectly straight. Let's say these were for decoration, it wouldn't matter. Or if it was like a part of if it was like a spindle for like the back of a chair or something, if it wasn't perfectly straight, nobody would know. So I am also a fiber artist. I do knit and crochet. I do a little weaving. I do a lot of spinning. I enjoy spinning. If I didn't, there's plenty of other things I could be making to make money. But yeah, this is kind of up my passion. That's what I like. And I tend to get hyper-focused on things, so... Yeah, if you hand me some yarn and a crochet hook, a granny square will magically appear. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of spindle makers that don't spin. Which I think is a bloody shame. I mean, would you buy a car designed by somebody who doesn't drive a car? I mean, how do you sell them? You go to a show and sit there and say, hey, can you show me how this works? Nope. You haven't made slippers out of them? Absolutely. Yeah, I've got a couple big granny squares that I made a long time ago that I put pots on. It's like, yeah. I can crochet blankets. It's been a while since I made a blanket because it takes time. Great for polishing the floors, right? So when I first started spinning, when I started making spindles, it took me about 3 years to get my girlfriend to start spinning. And she doesn't spin a whole heck of a lot, but she does spin enough to enter competitions. She enters Wisconsin Sheep and Wool, which is kind of the big one around us. And 2 years ago, she took Best of Show on her yard. She did get dizzy, but not any more than normal. We'll make this one into a 7-inch. I could have went back and moved my taper back, but I need a shorter one anyways. So she can spin very pretty yarn, but she doesn't spin very much. So since I production work, so I'm making a bunch. I store a lot of things on my lathe with magnets. So both wrenches or spanners have a magnet in a different spot, so I can just grab them. My jig here has a magnet. My pencil has a magnet. My wire has a magnet. I'm a big fan of magnets. But by having things in the same spot, you're not wasting time looking for things. You know, all my tools are, all my gouges and skews, all my turning tools are in the same location all the time. So I can just reach for them. I know where they are. This one's awesome mahogany. You know, it's going to take the same amount of time to turn. The only thing you can change is what goes on between the tool actually touching the wood. Having to fumble around looking for a pencil, all that little bit of time, it adds up. So you can't wait to get in your shop. You want to get going on re-veneering the coffee table. You have strips? Nice. I suppose the temperature is a big thing with adhesives as well. Let's come back just a little more. A little bit of vibration on that one. So rather than making an 8 or a 7-inch shaft, we're going to make a 6-inch. So the wood chips that I make fire starters out of them. So I just take little paper cups and fill them with wax and wood chips. Those little things burn for about 15 minutes. So you throw one in the fireplace, throw some wood on top, walk away. It's a beautiful thing. So this is hard maple. This is a mini glider. Oh, cool. So is that the marionette Thunderbirds? Just asking. Okay, Thunderbirds are go, them. Okay, cool. Ooh, broke that one. That one hurt. I felt that in my soul. Oh, sweet. You're making a C-3PO using gold chrome paint? Awesome. So this is a Laguna Revo 1216. So this is a midi size lathe. So it's not a little one and it's not a big one. For me, it's just like the Goldilocks lathe. So it also has a pulse width modulation. Basically, it has torque at very low speeds. So it knows what speed it needs to turn at, and it monitors and maintains that speed. And it's, for me, it's a perfect size. It's the I can't do that size. So if somebody's like, oh, can you make me a baseball bat? Oh, I'm sorry, my lathe isn't big enough. Can you make me a pool cue? Oh, I'm sorry, my lathe is not big enough. There you go. So I've had larger lathes in the past, but for what I do, this lathe is perfect. Actually, I don't, because if you reach in here, I've got a big piece of chicken wire in here that covers up the hole. So if the paper falls in there, I can grab it. So yeah, something like this, we'll go through and then it'll get stuck on the in feed, and then I'll lose suction, so. I mean, it's not a big deal to shut off the extractor and remove the hose and reach in there. It's easier to shove a piece of chicken wire in there. So we have a screened-in porch that has the normal screening on, the real small holes like you would have on a window at your house. But the cats climb up it all the time. So the screening's on the outside, and then I have chicken wire on the inside. So if they're going to climb it, they're going to climb on the chicken wire and not mess up the other stuff. So that's why I have chicken wire. No chickens were involved. Just some very naughty kitty cats. So next to our porch, we have some bushes, and birds nest in those bushes, so the cats want to get right on them. So that's where they're climbing. Vacuum, we have a strong magnet on the hose that catches most of the nails and stuff. Yes, that's a good idea. So I've got a pretty long line going in there, and things tend to build up around the blast gate that I 3D printed. You know, they do that with cows too. They make cows swallow magnets. That way, any metal will stay in the first stomach. Yeah, they really do. Oh, yeah. I tell you, Cherub. It beats punching a clock, though. It definitely does. Yeah. I bet if I spell the word cow correctly. There we go. Yep. Cow magnets. And you can even get them on Amazon. 3 of them for $18. Much cheaper than a vet bill or losing a cow because it ate some barbed wire or a nail that was in the pasture. Just another stupid fact from Wisconsin, the dairy state. Real Wisconsin cheese. You had facial recognition when you walked in? Nice. I didn't get paid for Halloween. The AI is not good with fancy dress. I didn't get paid, but some ood got paid. I don't get it. He had his heart in his hand and everything. Yeah, I worked in factories for almost 20 years. I'm much happier doing this. So the final sanding's only 220, but burnishing really makes it smooth. Now you can see the light bouncing off it. Yeah, does a good job. So, yeah, I'm turning hard maple, so the wood chips that don't go in the extractor and on the floor and stuff, I put in a tub, and then I use this for the burnishing. So the main part of the extraction is, yeah, it's nice to get some of the wood chips in there, but it's mainly to catch the real fine dust. That's what I'm really concerned about. Are we okay? Okay. Well, we got a bunch. Okay. Nice. Okay. I'm gonna run away for like maybe 2 minutes. I need to use the restroom. I'll be right back. I will point the camera at Vicky. Well, in this application, I don't really feel I need a mask. So. So she does have a monitor. So she can see the chat. Wait for my hands to dry. Yeah, back when I worked in a little workshop, masks were very important. We're trying. Tell you 605 every day we're trying. Now, we just started building inventory for the next show, which is in Raleigh, North Carolina in March. Yeah, I don't think that I'm going to be selling these all overnight. What's that? Nice. Yeah, I'm trying. I use context clues now, huh? Yeah. Hey, babe. How far away is our next show? Raleigh.
Time frame or distance?
Time frame.
It's first weekend of March.
No. How long? Distance. How many hours?
Time frame or
Distance. It's like a 12-hour drive. So it's like I only drive 8 hours a day because, I'm getting older. So it pretty much, it takes a week. 2 days there, 2 days back, 3-day weekend. I think we've been doing this show for... How long have we been doing Carolina Fiber Fest? 7 years? 8 years? It's been a while. Yeah. 6? Yeah, I'm not sure. So, we drove all the way to Raleigh, checked into the hotel, went to the festival, started setting up, and they shut it down for COVID. So we drove 12 hours to get to a show, only to turn around, lick our wounds, and drive right back. Yeah, we found we did find a yarn shop that wanted some spindles, so that helped, pay for gas at least. And the thing that really irked me is that same weekend, Billie Eilish had a concert. And there was so many people in the hotel room that got to go watch Billie Eilish, but I couldn't sell my stuff. Yeah. Well, we were in a state fairgrounds, and Billie Eilish was in a private venue, so the governor could stop the state fair stuff. But, yeah. It wasn't a bad thing, you know. I got home and we had, you know, enough inventory for a month. Yeah. Usually your state fair concerts are free. Yeah, this wasn't a state fair concert. I was at the state fair when it got shut down. They were in a different venue, but yeah. It was just a state fair grounds. So I just started, I just designed, let me grab it. So yeah, I just designed, I think, yesterday? Or was it Sunday? What day? It was yesterday, wasn't it? Well, we sold them yesterday, so... Yeah, so I designed these on Sunday. So it's a little catch-all tray. So it's black walnut. I am a little burnt out. So I just designed these. I'm making them in a couple different sizes. So, yeah. So, we'll see how these goes over. I made 4. I sold 3. This is the odd duck. So. Actually, I sharpened my stuff with a CBN wheel. So, hey, thank you. I appreciate it. That's what I use for grinding. So they're basically, you know, they're CBN. They're like diamond wheels, but they have cubic boron nitrate instead of diamonds. So it's a dry system. The nice thing about this is I don't have to have a guard around the whole thing because those don't explode, and they never change size. So I just 3D printed out these, and then I can just set it on the wheel, and then set my angle. So there's no thought involved. It's just real quick. I wouldn't mind a liquid these days. The water ones are nice, but when I bought this, I was still working out of that little shed outside, and I didn't want a bunch of ice to deal with. Right? So these shirts, I bought a ton of the same shirt when I first started doing this, and whenever I did anything in public, I always had this shirt on. So if I went to a show, you know, I had 3 different shirts to wear, but they all said the same thing. So it was kind of like my Scooby-Doo type of thing. And it did help people recognize me because I didn't have the big white beard then. So for a long time I was that spindle guy. And actually underneath my profile on Facebook, that's my name, and underneath it says the spindle guy. So I think I'm down to like 3 of these t-shirts. The rest have all worn out. There you go. Just make sure to mind your P's and Q's. Okay, we got something going on here. Okay. Yeah, we have a small knot right there. Just the way it's looking. Yeah. Hey Fred, how's it going? There you go. I'm running out of British things to say. So. Suppose I could glue a bunch of stars on my forehead. great. We got 2 hours in. Pretty amazing. Hey, thanks, babe. Appreciate it. I think we got about 20 minutes left in the stream. Yeah, for the amount of work, it really does dress them up. So if you ever see a turn piece that has a bunch of black lines on it, it's just really quick, and the amount of effort to the amount of detail is just definitely worth doing. There we go. All ready for sanding and balancing. So I show a lot, but we never show the balancing just because it's kind of a trade secret. Yeah, it's a little bit later for you. And I'm thinking about what I'm making for dinner tonight. Go to sleep at 2 a.m. I worked nights for many, many, many years. I used to work 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. You had vegetable stew? Awesome. I think I'm going to make a pork loin. And then we got some little potatoes. I was thinking about pan frying those with some onions and mushrooms. And maybe a Caesar salad. We got one Caesar salad left. So Caesar salad had nothing to do with Caesar. No Julius Caesar. No Caesar Augustus. Yep. Well, I'm kind of lazy. The little potatoes, I'm going to microwave and then cut them up. But yeah, it makes it much, much, much faster to fry. So the guy who invented Caesar salad's name was Caesar, and he lived in Tijuana, Mexico. So my favorite Mexican salad is the Caesar salad. The loin I got, the pork loin, is already flavored. It's already marinated in the bag. Do I have Hasselbeck potatoes? No, not familiar with that. We don't even have blood pudding here. I will check it out. Black and also white pudding. Yeah, here in America, pudding is just one thing. You know, it's pudding. It's not an umbrella term. So imagine my confusion when I heard, if you don't eat your meat, you can't have any pudding. How are you going to have any pudding if you don't eat your meat? No, I'm not really a big fan of pudding that much, but... So I was watching this, I think it was on TikTok. This guy was like live streaming from like an airport, and Ringo Starr comes, and he's like in the background, and he's talking to him, and the dude didn't know who Ringo Starr was. He's kind of like, what are you doing interrupting my live stream here? Insanity. I mean, we're running out of beetles. We only got 2 left. Come on. And the dude's like, who is that guy? His wife is really hot. He must be famous. Otherwise, how could he get such a hot wife? Like, we'll settle down there. And people in the chat were going like, Ringo, the Beatles. Who's Beatle Ringo? Oh boy. Now Ringo knows how George spelled, huh? Ooh, maybe I won't do the potatoes I have parsnips. Maybe I'll do parsnips tonight. Honey roasted does sound good. Do that with Christmas dinner along with all the other roasted vegetables. It does sound good. Normally we would have finished an hour ago, but I took an hour-long nap. I've never had chestnuts. Yes. We had a blight. A long time ago that killed off all our chestnut trees. I think the story goes somebody ordered a musical instrument. I want to say it was a violin from Europe, and then it just decimated all the chestnut trees in America. Yeah, you know, people. You know, they would grow up eating chestnuts and more than likely be buried in a casket made out of chestnuts. So, yeah, it was an important tree for a while. Currently, our ash trees are being destroyed by emerald ash borers, little bugs. And ash trees are very common here. So now there's just like dead ash trees everywhere. when I buy firewood, a lot of it is ash. You can't move it from county to county because they're trying to slow down the spread of it, but there's no stopping it. Alright guys, well, I'm going to call it a stream. I'd like to thank you for hanging out with me. We did get a bunch of stuff made today. At least 4. Alright guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you want to catch my next stream, I really don't have a schedule. The best thing to do would be to subscribe and click the bell, and then you can get notified. Oh man, I'm sorry you ran out of beer. I feel your pain. And we'll catch you next time. Have a great day. And bye-bye.